Well, I spoke earlier in the show about the left's push to divide us by race, and finally, we've actually got someone from the left making a sensible decision. Maybe. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said the Brits will not be paying reparations for slavery and climate change. His comments came ahead of the King's Heads of Commonwealth meeting happening in Samoa right now, where member states like the Bahamas and Barbados will push for trillions of pounds in compensation for Britain's sins. Joining me is GB News host Patrick Christys. Patrick, great to have your company. Keir Starmer says that agreeing to pay reparations would only result in never-ending arguments. I think he's probably right about that. But will he stick to his guns?
Well, it's difficult to believe him, mainly because the Labour Party here has spent years virtue signalling, some would argue race baiting, being on the side of anti-monarchy, pro-reparations groups, including our current Foreign Secretary, a chap called David Lammy, who is very vocal about his own family's Caribbean heritage and stood up and said, and I'm talking about him referring to himself as being someone from the Caribbean there, we demand reparations. Well, that was only a few years ago, so that gives the green light to all of these groups. The other aspect to it is that they only have to look at how the Labour government has behaved in office so far, handing the Chagos Islands over to Mauritius without a shot being fired, despite the fact they never really belonged to Mauritius. They did say that that was to right historical wrongs, so that's going to be a problem. Mauritius, of course, a close ally with China. We do also have a cultural movement in the UK, spearheaded, remarkably, by the Archbishop of Canterbury, who a while ago raised eyebrows when he said the church was going to pay £1 billion in slavery reparations. Everybody said, why? Then it turns out yesterday, his own father, great-great-great-grandfather, I should say, owned slaves. So the Church of England is now paying for his own personal guilt. So there is a push to do this, and it will be interesting to see whether or not our Foreign Secretary has changed his mind.